And we'll get to where we're supposed to go. Excuse me. See him push my shoe.
Like, you know, I gotta get where I'm going.
The Bible says, and seeing the multitude, he went up a mountain, and when he was seated, his disciples came to him, then he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sakes, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when they revile and persecute you and all, and say all kinds of evil things. You falsely for my sake. 12.
Be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled by men. You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand and give it its light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven.
18.
17.
17.
Do not think that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For assuredly I say to you, till heaven and earth pass away, one jot or one tittle will by no means pass from the law till it is fulfilled. Whoever therefore break one of the least of these commandments and teach men so shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does and teach them, he shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
For I say to you that unless your righteousness exceeds the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven. You have heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not murder, and whoever murders will be in danger of the judgment. But I say to you that whoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whoever says to his brother, Raka, shall be in danger of the council. But whoever says, you fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. Therefore, if you bring your gift to the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar, and go your way. First, be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift. 25.
25.
Settle matters quickly with your adversary, who is taking you to court. Do it while you are still with him on the way, or he may hand you over to the judge, and the judge may hand you over to the officer, and you may be thrown into prison. I tell you the truth, you will not get out until you have paid the last penny. You have heard that it was said, do not commit adultery. But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart.
29.
If your right eye causes you to sin, gouge it out and throw it away. For it is better that you lose one of the parts of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. 30.
If your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. For it is better that you lose one of the parts of your body than for your whole body to go to hell. It was also said, whosoever divorces his wife must give her a written notice of divorce. But I tell you, everyone who divorces his wife, except in the case of sexual immorality, causes her to commit adultery, and whoever marries a divorced woman commits adultery.
So listen to what, guys, did you all see that? Matter of fact, I looked over that, but did you see what he said, what was considered, if a person marries somebody that's divorced, what happened?
Yep.
I wanted to. So then, let's look at this again, and then let's watch this. So then, in watching and looking at this, he says, and he says, and whoever marries a divorced woman, right? Is that what you were saying? Whoever marries a divorced woman, right?
But I tell you, everyone who divorces his wife except in case of sexual immorality causes her to commit adultery, and whoever marries a divorced woman commits adultery.
So is that not as plain as you can get it?
Yeah.
If you look at the text, it's not as plain as you can get it. So then there's no questions there was no question then, right? When it comes down to when it comes down to someone that's divorced, he's giving you your answer. He told you. Here's the answer. You can add all you want. You can flake, you can put all that you want to. The bottom line is, he says it still stands here. It still stands here. And whoever marries a divorced woman, he says, does what?
Commits adultery.
You can't get it, to me it's like you can't get it no clearer.
Prince Harry gonna commit adultery.
What'd you say? Prince? Who?
Harry gonna commit adultery.
Who's Prince Harry?
The one that's marrying
Meghan Markle.
the big thing.
He's been married
It was
before?
on the news.
She has.
She has.
Oh, she was married before?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but it depends on.
What were her reasons for the
Well,
divorce?
reason, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, because if there was adultery, then she's free. But the other side, like I said, she's free. I'm gonna add no more to it. She's free if adultery was committed in that relationship. Now, if she committed adultery in that relationship, then you're right. I told you, the world has, and this is why we don't get it, we're in the last days. I mean, we can't get it no clearer, no cleaner, no better. I think, as a matter of fact, we go with Thessalonians. I think it's 2 Thessalonians. Just go there. I think this is our problem. And then it starts at 8. I'm sorry, 2 Thessalonians. I just didn't tell you what verse. 2 Thessalonians 2. 2 Thessalonians 2. And you got it?
And
And
then
8. I mean, 2 Thessalonians 2 verses 8.
and then the lawless one will be revealed.
No, I think it's,
No.
Yeah, that's it. The lawless one will be revealed. Come on.
Thessalonians what?
2:8.
Yeah.
Then the lawless one will be revealed. The Lord Jesus will destroy him with the breath of his mouth, and will bring him to nothing with the brightness of his coming.
Come on.
The coming of the lawless one is based on Satan's working with all kinds of false miracles, signs, and wonders, and with every unrighteous deception among those who are perishing. They perish because they do not accept the love of the truth in order to be saved. For this reason, God sends them a strong delusion,
You understand what that is?
strong delusion.
Sure it is.
Just,
And for this reason, God will send a strong delusion. Do we understand what he's talking about by strong delusion?
he just
He makes
said,
a statement in 10, and
harden
then
your heart.
he makes a statement in 10 for you to understand.
And every unrighteous deception among those who are perishing. They are perished because they do not accept the love of the truth.
So watch it. Then he says, and for this reason, right?
Yes.
So then, what then would be the reason for him doing what he's doing?
They don't accept it yet.
First of all, he says he told you what was happening with them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
He says what? In 10, he says, for they did not receive the love of the truth that they may be saved. But he makes a statement. He says in 10, with all unrighteousness, deception among those, see it?
Who are perishing.
Who are what?
Perishing.
Isn't that sad when you don't even know you're perishing? Run that by you again. Because I think we miss it. When he says, and those who are perishing. So watch this. Did you know he's talking about those that are at the church, in church? Run that by you again. Do you really understand what he's saying here? And that's what I'm working at. And I says, I don't want nobody getting their defenses up. Oh Lord, he's beating us. He's beating me up. No. Then let the word beat you up. Don't let me beat you up. The Bible makes it clear as a bell. He says, and with all unrighteousness, righteous deception among those who are perishing. So then who are you talking about? Those who are perishing. Who are those that are perishing?
The ones that did
Those that what?
In the church, he said that.
Those that what?
They might, he talked about the saved.
Stay within the confines of the text. Those who are perishing, he says what?
Because they did not.
Because they do not, or they did not what?
Accept the love.
They would not accept, he calls it what?
Love of the truth.
Love. Hold on, he calls it what? Love. So watch this. Not even watch this. The love of the truth is there. Whose love? God. So the love is there. So I told you I'm back in that book again.
Insanity
in the church. I says, we don't get it what he means by this strong delusion. He says, it's going to happen to those that are perishing.
Yeah.
What do you mean, those that are perishing? Well, those that are perishing, we would say, are the world, right? Well, we already know they perishing, so why would he be talking about those that are already perishing? But he's talking about those that are counterfeit Christians. Those that are pretending that they love the Lord. And yet you find other, I'll say, anytime there's something that you find important before the Lord's work, that's what I'll call it that. Anytime, yes.
Oh, go ahead, I will tell you.
Yeah. Anytime you find something more important than the Lord's work, this is what he's talking about. He says, you're those that are perishing. You're those that he's basically taken out of the book. Remember, we all written in the book? He says, you're the ones that, watch this, because, stop and think about it. He says, unrighteous deception. He says, because you refuse to receive the truth. Remember, it says, the love of the truth. Because you refuse to receive the love of the truth. Because you didn't want it. If you made it blend, if it blended in with your schedule, you was cool. But if it don't blend in with your schedule, something's got to go. Anytime something's a priority over God, that is your God, whether you like it or not. Yes, Wayne.
But isn't labeling traditions that we have that people hold on to, and when presented the truth about it, they still hold. When presented the truth about it, they still hold on to it.
Huh?
When they're presented the truth about something, or they find out something that they misinterpret or whatever,
Right.
and refuse to accept it,
And so what do?
Keep going.
Fight. you fight. You don't want to hear the truth, or you run. You don't want to hear it, so you disappear. Or you sit there like a dummy because the truth is being quoted and you don't want nobody to know that that's what's been said is really you.
It doesn't hold your interest.
What'd you say?
It doesn't hold your interest.
You got it. You know what I mean? These are the things that I like how you said, it doesn't hold your interest. So what'd you say? I'm present.
Yeah.
You hear me? I'm present, meaning I came to church. I am present. But that's all. I'm just present. I'm just here. So being here, then, the preacher is talking about me. He's got something that he's saying about me. Well, that's the truth that you're hearing. So, therefore, the truth now affects you. So, whereas you don't want to hear the truth. You don't want to hear it. You wish the preacher would get off that subject matter because that one hits home. That one is directing, or you feel he is directing it at you. So I've heard people say, he was looking at me. Well, how you know I was looking at you? I may have been looking at the wall back there where you are. But you thought I was looking at you. Well, what was looking at you was the Spirit of truth. That's what was looking at you. And because it was looking at you, you got a problem. That kitchen is hot. And you want the kitchen to calm down. So your way of doing it, and I've seen it too many times, you'd rather go to another church and be a no name. So I can sit in there, and then that way, even if they say something and it really pertains to me, I'm a no name, so nobody knows that it's pertaining to me. Or I've sat here in the worship, and if he just get off this, I would be all right if he just go past what he's talking about. But it's like he's spending the whole sermon on this when I've already shifted to something else. But he's spending the whole sermon on this. Well, whose thinking is that? That's your thinking because it hits home. You don't realize that unrighteous deception. You don't even realize what it's doing. And he says, he told you unrighteous deception. He says, for those who are perishing. None of us want to say, well, it ain't me, because I ain't perishing. Every last one of us in this room wants to make that statement. But God knows our hearts. God knows who finds other things more important than me. God knows. God says, first of all, and then I'm going to let you in. First of all, we missed this. God says, I sent my son. My son made a sacrifice. I'm asking you to make a sacrifice. I'm asking you to remove self. And then you'll see more and more of me. You'll understand more of me. You'll desire more of me. You'll crave me. You'll want to study me more and more. You will, when you let go of self, you say, got it, understand it, and then something comes up. And that something that comes up now causes distraction. That's your unrighteous deception. Something causes you to find something else much more important than God. I don't know what it is, so I ain't looking at nobody. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, it causes enough distraction for you to have to now make an excuse why you're not here. When God's word is being taught, we're to be there. You mean we are to be there when His word is being taught. So then that's why I said in making the statement that I'm making, He's made the statement, watch this, deception. He's made the statement, those who perish. Then He makes this. Then He says, and for this reason, right? Then He says, and for this reason, He says what? God will send what? A strong delusion. Watch this. There's no need in you pretending or playing games, is what he's saying. You don't have to play games no more with me. I will make what you think is right. That's what he's saying. I will make what you think is most important, I will make you believe it is right. You're right. You don't have to feel guilty about it. You don't have to feel wrong about it. You don't have to feel anything about it. Why? Why? Because I've already said you are already what? Perishing. You're already perishing. So watch this. Because you won't let go. God says, you don't understand. My son means a whole lot to me. And my son came in this world for you. And for you to reject my son. For you to take his word lightly. Not Jesus. Not Jesus. The Father says, you belong to me. I will come after you. Forget about my you know what? You're not going to shame my son. You shamed my son enough while you were on the face of this earth. He says, so now what I will do is send a strong delusion. He didn't say a delusion. He says a strong delusion is what I'll send upon you. Guys, that's to the point where I've convinced you that what you are doing is right. And nobody can change that thinking. That's why I said we need to be careful when we miss in Bible studies, when we miss in worship. We need to make sure that that's not a delusion that has come upon us. Make sure, because once God sends a strong delusion, let me read a little bit more and we'll get out of this. Once God sends this strong delusion, he says what? Somebody read. Once he sends a strong delusion.
They should believe the lie.
That they should what?
Believe the lie.
I like it straight as clean as you can put it. Believe a what? A lie. That's what you want to believe in? I will make you believe. I will make you think you are serving God. I'll make you think you're doing this. It's a lie. I'll make you think you're doing this. Why? Because he's talking about the condition of the heart. I will produce the conditioning of your heart. I will, you have said this, so be it. There comes a point, even in God, that says, understands long patience and suffering. Where God finally says, too, I'll pull the plug. We're in Numbers 13. We talked about that yesterday. In Numbers 13. The Israelites were 3 days into a journey. 3 days into a journey. They're complaining again. They're this close to crossing over. I said you need to be there on Tuesday. They never cross over. God says, I've had enough of you pretending like you love me. I've had enough I've given you everything you could ask for. I've shown you every miracle. I even produce night on one side and day on the other. How do you explain that? I did that. Then I made all the weeping and crying take place when that which was in darkness. And remember, that was the firstborn that died. I gave you all kinds, showed you all kinds of plagues that came from me. Then when I took you out and had you to take this journey, as I had you take this journey, all you did was complain. We're talking about maybe a little over 3 days now, and you've been complaining. I said, don't worry about it. Find your way out. It's done. And for 40 years they sat in that desert. A delusion. God says, if you want to believe it, I'll send it. So now watch this, guys. Want to get back over to our text. I just wanted you to see this. Oh, Steve, I'm sorry.
No, I was looking at testimonies, and I know you was talking about these Antichrist coming in. There are those who will be caught up into this person.
Yes.
You know, I mean, and so like I say, when you buy all of that, I see where he's talking about when he'll send delusions that you want him to be the man, then he is the man.
That's it. That's what he
He
said.
is the man for you, and you're going straight to hell with that. Because it talks about the evil. And, but I just recall you was talking about being the last days, of course.
Yes.
And you were talking about, when you had mentioned, not taking God's word seriously, or not,
Right.
or just not really, you don't want to hear the truth. In other words, you know, you stepped on my toes.
It affects your lifestyle.
Yeah, and so you haven't come to the knowledge of the truth that, you know, this is pricking you and you want to do what's right.
Right.
You don't want to do what's right.
You don't want to do what's right.
So when I was looking, yeah, you don't want to. It's just to see, you just like, you know, I hear that, but I like this over here too.
So what does God do? Make that what you don't want to do, he makes it right.
Right. You're not careful, that's what happens.
I'll make it right. You think this is what you need to do at the time of study? I'll make it right.
Pay the price later though.
That's right, but I'll make it right. I'll put it in your mind, it is right. Whatever you're doing, it is right. That's a sad day. That's a sad day when you are convinced, then what's wrong with what I'm doing? Talk to God, see if he can answer that for you.
You're not, like I said, you're not really believing in it.
Right, you ran from the truth.
So since you use that word truth, like I said, we're going to get my favorite scripture, not favorite. We're going to 2 Timothy 3 and 7.
Go ahead.
But I know, you know, we're talking about ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth.
Yes.
But the thing is that when I read up top, it says, this know also that in the last days perilous times are going to come.
Yes.
And men, for men shall be lovers of their own self. And he's talking to the church here, right?
You better know it.
So he's talking about that there will be those, this is the churches.
Because we already know what the world is like.
Right.
He's talking about those in the church. He's talking about teachers, preachers,
Having a
and
form of God.
congregation.
Having a form of God.
I'm trying to tell you, look, I'm trying to tell you, look, you praise his holy name. Praise his holy name. You look every bit like you are serving God. But your heart is nowhere near me. Your purpose for being here was, whether you know it or not, appearance. Or was it fear? Meaning, well, I don't want to go to hell. Wrong attitude. But that's true. I don't want to go to hell. Wrong attitude. And God don't want you to go to heaven. You say, wait a minute, but I don't want to go to hell. He says, right. And I don't want you to go to hell, and I don't want you to come to heaven either. Why? Because you're coming for the wrong attitude. You're only coming because you're afraid of hell. You're not coming because you changed. You're not coming because you love me. You're not coming because you crave me, because you worship me, because you want to be me. You're not coming for those reasons. You come because somebody told you if you don't do right, you're going to hell. So your thinking is, well, I don't want to go to hell, so let me get on down there. Wrong attitude. God says that one's wrong too. You don't get it. That one ain't right either. Yes.
And one that I had learned before I learned about Jesus.
Come on.
That the church is the exit to heaven.
Yes. Come on.
So be in the right church, you can get to heaven.
I see what you're saying. But
but this was in my head, you know.
See what I'm saying? And I was taught the same thing too. I don't want to go to hell. So I was taught the same thing. Don't get upset. I was taught the same thing. I don't want to go to hell, so then I need to get into the church so I don't go to hell. But failing to understand, this is what we were talking about. You don't realize that you've walked into a religion. That's a religion. That's what told you, here's how I do this. And then you say, what else I need to do to make it right? We talked about that Sunday when Sister Cook brought up the idea of Paul doing his work behind all those souls that he killed. I said, failing to understand, it's beyond just that. When Paul finally got to know who God really was, ain't nothing else I want to do but serve him. Once he got it handled, and I said, this is what's wrong. We're in the last days. This is what's wrong with the church. We think that we just gonna slither our way in, We just gonna, Lord, I was there, and God says, you don't understand. You don't need to come here. Why? Because you never loved me. You were simply afraid of me. You never loved me. And watch this, and I'm talking about meaning God's son. You never loved him. So you were just afraid. That's why you came. And I sent that delusion that you didn't even see. Watch this, that you didn't even see it. You didn't even recognize I sent that delusion. Because you kept saying what you're doing is right. So I told you, you're right, it's right. Do what you want to do, it's right. Go ahead, do it. I convinced you, because I told you once God sends something, you can't take it away. God said, so I sent this delusion upon you. And you didn't even see it. But I sent it for those who are perishing. That's who I sent it. I've said it over and over. It's a remnant that God is coming back to get. It's just a remnant that he's coming back. That remnant of those who have made sacrifices in their lives. That's the remnant. Those that have said, I am going to do, Lord, whatever it is. It's the remnant that says, God says, I want you to come out on the ocean. You say, Lord, but this is a mountain you got me out. He says, walk. And you say, whoa, whoa. He says, this is that remnant that says, okay, I'll walk. This is what he's trying. He wants us to go, wait a minute, it's beyond our thinking. Abraham pulled the knife up to kill. It's beyond our thinking. Who would do that? Who would pull the, watch this. I'm thinking, well, eventually God is going to tell Abraham, okay, you're okay. No, God allowed him to go all the way through it. To the point that he's getting ready to pull the knife up and kill him. God runs the test, the challenge in our lives. We were talking about Job this morning, right, Calvert? 7 days those three men came. They sat there, they said absolutely nothing. Go back and look at it. We say the punishment that Job was, or the pain that Job was going through is approximately a little over 2 weeks. If this is the case, 7 days they sat there with him. Did you know Job was almost over with this? But look at all this stuff that's going on. We don't know when God is going to bring peace in our lives. But watch this, but you keep trusting him. God will bring peace in your life when you keep trusting him. But you rely on you. It should be over by now. Why am I going through this by now? Where are you? You should be here. You know what I'm going through. God says you haven't learned yet. And because you haven't learned yet, I will keep you in that scenario because you keep claiming you love me. And if you love me, then you'll just allow me to make sure that you don't die. But the trials and tribulations that Satan gives you, you'll take them. I told you, our problem with the church, and I got to get off this, our problem with the church today is we do not want to make any sacrifices. We don't want to do it. We, watch this, Pastor, you have to be there. That's the attitude that we have. Failing to understand, God is saying, no, I would hope that you are hungry enough to be there. I would hope. Yes, God.
I think it's a little more personal than that. I think it's sacrifices, but it's self-sacrifices. Because what you do involves self. And if you're comfortable in self, a lot of these things that come up, you're not going to want to do.
You got it.
And it's not because you don't have a desire, it's just that you're so conformed to the other way.
Right.
That it's difficult, and you put minimal effort. You don't go all out. You put minimal effort, and you don't even cross over. So you continue to get to that startup line, and then you don't cross over, and you just stay there. You wonder how come you're stagnant and you're stuck.
Right. Why can't I?
And so you begin to settle. This is good enough.
What do you say? So then you sell it.
Yeah.
Cop, I mean, Steve, what's your famous? You're stuck in what? You're stuck in stupid. You won't even come out. You don't even realize it. Now watch this. Be careful, because once that gear gets stuck, God can send that strong delusion upon you. You don't want to change. Don't worry about it. You're right. Remain just like you are. What does that mean? Let me help you. What does that mean? You still come to church? That's what that means. You still sit there? That's what that means. You say amen? That's what that means. That's what he's saying. I'm trying to get you to see this delusion. This is the delusion. You don't think anything, well, I'm growing in the Lord. God says, oh, please. Until something comes up that you call, that you think is a priority. Did you hear me? Whatever it is that you think is a priority. Anytime, I can't say enough, anytime you've been deviated from your study, it ain't the work of God. Stop and think about it. It ain't the work of God. God will never hinder you from learning His Word. He will never stifle you from learning His Word. He will, as a matter of fact, He loves it when you crave, when you desire to learn of Him. He loves it. So it ain't God that's sending this problem or whatever it is. It's you that have conjured this up. You that have made it a priority. So you're looking at your priority and you're thinking, I got to work on my priority, failing to understand God is your priority. God is your priority. I don't care what we do. The world today is in health, is in staying in shape. They had a survey today in California. I think we rank 50 when it comes down to California for health. So we really down there is what they're saying. As far as California, we way down there. Watch this. I looked at that. My wife was looking at it. I says, but you know what? I says, we may rank fifth in hell. I said, fella, I understand. You're going to die when God takes you. That's when you're going to die. I don't care what you do. One man smoked cigarette, he's 102 years old. And he's been smoking a cigarette all his life. But you know I'm telling the truth. And you say, well, how in the world? Because it wasn't time for him to die.
Yep, that's right.
But we missed this. But so wait, I need to work out. I need to do this. I need to do that, and you die tomorrow. But here's the point. You die tomorrow outside of Christ. Because God said that was your priority. That's what took you away from me. You were worried about that physical body and don't understand your spiritual body is starving to death. It's starving to death and it needs to be fed. But you rather look good and watch this. And nobody can see my spiritual body. They don't have to see it. They can hear it. They can hear it.
That part, you got people that don't know the difference.
Well, that's who you hang around.
Yeah.
You hang around those who don't know no better. So you're okay. I said too many times, I sit down and talk to you. You ain't got to tell me whether or not you're a Christian. I sit down and talk to you. I can hear it.
Yeah.
I can hear it. You don't even know what Revelations is. I can hear it. I dealt with somebody today and says, I can tell you what your problem is. And that person couldn't fight me. I said, you don't pick up God's word. I said, tell me I'm wrong. The person was quiet. I said, this is my point. But then you wonder why all these problems are in your life. God has a solution. It's in His Word. He has a solution. But you'll never know the solution. So you want to go here to learn how to fix this. You want to, all these classes they got out now. And you want to go to that class to learn how to do this. And you want to go to this class. I says, your greatest counselor is in the pages. Your greatest counselor is in the pages. All you got to do is pick up the book and read it. It will help you with marriages. It will help you with divorces. It will help you with adultery. It will help you with fornication. It will help you with, you name it, it'll help you with every problem you got. It's here. There's your counselor. Let me get off that. Just want you to see this. So watch this. Get back to where we were. He says, watch this. Getting back to where we are. He says in 33. He says in 33, he says what?
Again, you have heard that it was said to our ancestors, you must not break your oath, but you must keep your oath to the Lord. But I tell you, don't take an oath at all, either by heaven, because it is God's throne, or by earth, because it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, because it is the city of the great king.
So guys, I want you to see something. He made something concerning an oath, right? He says when you're making this oath, he says you're not to make it, when you said God's heaven, God's earth, right? The throne, right? Or something, Jerusalem, right? So what are you talking about? He says, first of all, isn't that God's? In heaven, doesn't heaven belong to God's? Watch this. Doesn't earth belong to God? Isn't Jerusalem considered a great city that belongs to him? He says, so if you're going to make an oath, then you make an oath by what? You make an oath by, with God's name. Hold on. You make an oath with God's name. Because that's who you need to make it by. But he told you, but you don't need to do it at all. What he said, but don't do it at all. Because he's trying to get you to see how important it is when you make an oath. God says when you make it, you got to keep it. When you make it, you got to keep it. What do you mean? Whatever you told God you was going to do, even though it hurts, do it. There was a gentleman in our Bible that made an oath. The first one that comes out of my house, the first person that comes out of my house, they're yours.
You can take it.
And it turned out to be his daughter. He should have backed off and said, well, other than. No, the oath was you made it. And watch this. And his daughter had to remind him, no, you made it. Because you made it, we will keep it. Stop and think about it. You see how serious an oath is? It's nothing to play with. Well, God will forget it. No, God ain't going to forget it. You made it. I've said to some people, you don't get it. I'm having all kinds of hard times. That's because you did. You don't realize that you may have made an oath and didn't keep it. And God says, and I'll remind you of that oath that you didn't keep. But you don't understand. God says, no, you don't understand. That's why I told you in this text, don't do it at all. Don't do it at all. Because you might forget. But I won't. I won't forget that oath. And that oath is going to cause trials and tribulations because you wouldn't keep it. I want you to see this. I'll put it down. I'll pull your papers. I says to dishonor and compromise any truth is to dishonor and compromise his truth. Heaven is God. The earth is God's. Jerusalem is God. And every person's head is God. It is therefore wicked and sinful to use anything of God, whether his name or part of his creation, as witness to anything that is dishonest, deceitful, insincere, or at least, or in the least way, knowingly false. You don't do it. Don't make a statement you can't keep. Somebody used to say, don't put your mouth where you, or don't put your foot where your mouth is. Or something. I remember how they go. Remember, but something about that. The bottom line is, don't say something and then don't keep it. God says, I remember it. Because you said it, and all of it is mine. You said it, and all of it is mine. I said, give you something simple. Give you something simple. Brother Thompson, I'll see you next Sunday. Did you hear me? Did you hear me? I'll see you next Sunday. I said, okay. And you do a no-show. Well, let me tell you really what happened. I was going to come, and this is what came up. God says, acceptable by Brother Thompson. Unacceptable by me. Now, who you think stands the most? Brother Thompson's or mine? God says, you don't understand. You didn't make that to Brother Thompson. You made that to me. And because you made that to me, I hold you accountable. Stop and think about it. This oath is nothing to play with. I think I got a little bit more on this. I've got, here we go. Where we in? Get our Bible going. 34, 33, 34. It says what?
36.
Read 36.
36.
We read 36?
No.
No, we're on 36.
Go ahead.
Neither, me?
I don't care again.
Neither should you swear by your head, because you cannot make a single hair white or black.
Come on.
But let your word yes be yes, and your no be no. Anything more than this is from the evil one.
It's from who?
The evil one.
So you ain't got no business doing what? There's no oath, there's no swearing. I don't do it. You simply say,
Yes.
if it's God's will, I will see you Sunday. I correct a lot of people when they say, see you tomorrow. I said, if it's God's will. I say it all the time. Then somebody says, well, I'll see you tomorrow. I say, if it's God's will. They don't even know what I'm saying. Because I'm saying, you missed something. Who promised you tomorrow? So if you dead, I expect to see you tomorrow. Somebody need to roll you down the way, because I need to see you tomorrow no matter what. Okay, stop and think about it. So that's why it's always if it's God's will. And I said if it's God's will, not God's will. No, I don't know what God's will is with you. That's why I say if it's God's will when you say something. If it's God's will, I'll see you tomorrow. If it's God's will, I'll talk to you later on. If it's God's will. I don't know, get a heart attack, but as you saying it, and drop dead. Stop and think about it. The gentleman came out of the pulpit, they tell me out of Figueroa, and they said he dropped dead. The minister. Remember that? That he just dropped dead. They thought he was just kidding, remember? They didn't think it's serious. They said he coughed or something, right? And fell over, and they thought he was just kidding. And he's dead. Just that quick. So guys, then watch this. I made this. I said, if this is the case, he says, and then let's go. He says, the real meaning of the law in this, swear, not at all, curse, not at all, do not swear or curse by anything. Swear not, because all things are sacred. Heaven is God's throne, the place where His glory is manifested. I gave you scripture. To swear by heaven or to curse heaven is to swear by God and to do what? Curse God. The earth is God's footstool, amen. The place He governs and looks over, I've given you scriptures. To swear by earth or to curse earth is to swear by God and to curse God. Jerusalem is the city of the great King. He cares deeply for Jerusalem. As a matter of fact, He's coming back. Somebody's going to be there in Jerusalem soon. Y'all know He's going to be there in Jerusalem? He said something about that in Acts 1. I heard him say something. He says, why are you standing there gazing?
Jesus.
Yes. He says, this same Jesus that has ascended will what? Descend. Where's He going to descend? Back in. So I'll see you back in Jerusalem. Jerusalem's no joke. Trump has made Jerusalem now our capital. And He's caused, and what has now been revealed is a Muslim religion took that over. That's what's been revealed. That was Israel's. But you've got a Muslim group that has taken that over. So now what are they doing? They fighting tooth and nail. What somebody said they were what?
Fighting and killing each other.
Isn't that something? Because they're saying no, it's ours when God said it was Israel's. It really is. And so we're watching how when you don't take care of business, see what happens? You allow this to go on and on and on. Then Trump brings up this idea of, I don't know where he got it from, but we need to be in Jerusalem. Jerusalem is the capital. Well, he was right. Jerusalem is the capital. He really is right.
But you don't want Muslims in the United States then.
Isn't that something? Huh?
He doesn't want Muslims in the United States.
Well, by looking at this, he's got a good one. This one don't make him look bad, guys. This one makes him look good. It really does. Because you see what the Muslims are doing now. They fighting, they got to put things in the air to see if they can get them, to stop doing it. They're fighting tooth and nail to keep Jerusalem. And it is Israel's. Be careful. I said, now you see it. And we say, well, he doesn't want Muslims in the country. He don't want nobody in the country, but believe it or not, but rednecks is all he wants in this country. But being honest, that's all he wants in this country. That's really what he wants in this country. And watch this, and rich rednecks. That's what he wants in this country. Fellas, understand, rich ain't gonna clean your toilets. Rich ain't gonna pick up your yard, ain't gonna clean up your yard. So you do need a variety of people, but that ain't how he thinks. But I don't want to be on Trump because I'm not supposed to. But watch this. Swear not, because all power belongs to God. In reality, no man has any power to do anything. For example, he cannot change his statute. What power he has is given by God. In fact, the power man thinks he can be taken away at any moment. Cursing God is a terrible sin. So terrible that it is one of the 10 commandments. Amen? A special judgment is even pronounced upon the cursers. I gave you where you can find it. Cursing is meaningless, thoughtless, and irrelevant. Then I'm giving you that scripture. See it? Thou shalt not take. Go ahead.
For the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
It's a serious thought. That's why I told you, you gotta know you better keep it. You don't be swearing by it, and you don't swear, and you don't curse his name in vain. And cursing his name in vain is that we say something of profanity, right? That's cursing his name. No, that's not. What is cursing his name in vain? When you do things that you shouldn't be doing, you're cursing his name. Well, I'm going to run that by you again. Because we always think it's profanity, y'all. That means cursing his name. No. Cursing his name is going just the opposite of what he's asked us to do. That's in vain. You're in trouble, or we're in trouble behind doing something like that.
Committed an act contrary to his word.
That's it. That's cursing him in vain. That's what I told you. This is serious, guys. Don't let that strong delusion. Don't let that strong delusion. Well, that's that strong delusion. Don't let it come into your life and you thinking that you okay with God when you ain't okay with God. When you go against what he's asked of you to do.
Amen.
But you don't understand, Brother Thompson, that's so hard. No, that shows how worldly you are. That's really what it does. It exposes how worldly you are. That you can't even turn around. You were supposed to no longer conform. You were supposed to be what? Transform. You ain't never made no transformation. You're still in a conformed state. That's why it's so hard to do what's right. It's just so hard when nobody's looking, so I'll do this. You don't realize how conformed you are versus transformed. I told you, when you transform, you make sacrifices. I use the word make. You will make the time to serve God. If it means you know what, I got this dinner that I'm gonna cook, I should have cooked it Saturday. Why? Because I'm not going to allow it to keep me from serving my God. Well, I'll serve him during the day, Calvert. That takes care of it because I've served him in the morning. I came to worship, so I've served him in the morning. That's good enough. So what are you going to do in the evening? Last time I checked, it's the Lord's morning. It's the Lord's morning, right?
Okay.
That's what I thought. He gives you 6 days and you can't give him one.
That's just the buy-in.
Lord, have mercy.
You know, Lord's Day
Come on.
is just a buy-in, because once you realize it, it's all the time. It's not designated as one specific day.
Right, right.
It's ongoing, and once you taste it and it's good to you, and it will be, one day is not enough.
Watch this. Well, here's the problem. I'm going to look at this one day. Here's the problem. You can't even make it back in the evening to support your brother. But you still think heaven is my home. But you can't support. Now, we talking about anybody. We're talking about your brother. You can't even come back from that. It's called a sacrifice. I told you. Christ made a sacrifice for us, and he's asking you to make sacrifices. It's something you need to give up. But you don't understand. Yes, I do understand. You are conformed to this world. You've never transformed. You're still conformed to this world. That's why you can't let go. I got too many things to do. God says, how about serving me? I gave you 6 days to do them. How about serving me? Well, Lord, I just can't make that. He says, and I will plant it in your mind that what you're doing is right. That's that delusion. I'll put it in your mind that you're living right. Praise his holy name. I'll put it in your mind that what you're doing is right. And God says, because you don't understand. Because I also see you perishing. You're part of that perishing group. I keep saying, and I said it over and over, when we understand, he is talking about a remnant that's going to enter into the kingdom of heaven. That's it. You say, I don't understand. He says in the days of Noah, only 8 souls were saved. Don't you understand what happened to the rest of the people? I can't believe he killed them. He did. He killed them. He actually killed them. He actually wiped them out. So you trying to tell me that all them people on the face of the earth wasn't but 8? I ain't trying to tell you nothing. God said it wasn't but 8. That's the remnant. That was it. That was the remnant at that time. I wonder what the remnant is today. I really wonder what the remnant is today. Believe me, your Matthew 25, when you ever get a chance, you go back and look at it. That is that remnant that he's talking about. That remnant that will make sacrifices, and that's the remnant that he's talking about. And if you can't match up to Matthew 25, that's your problem. There she blows, and you don't even know it. I've always said, if you're gonna buzz hell, go for the gusto. Ain't no need pretending, because you ain't pretending you ain't fooling God. You're only fooling yourself. So watch this. Watch what he says. I'm going back to my paper. I want you to see it so I can catch up. Jesus simply reasserts the Old Testament standard that has been misconstrued and perverted by tradition. Make no oath at all, is what he says. Oaths are to be used only on important occasions and are to be given only in the name of the Lord. That's when you use it. You better keep it, because that's when you use it. Watch this. Let you just read this one, Teresa. Let your statements be yes, yes, and your no's be no, no. Right? Anything beyond that is of evil. The statement is from Logos. The basic meaning of which is simply word.
Every normal word in the course of a daily speech should be a truthful word, unadorned and unqualified in regards to its truthfulness. A person's word, message, or speech as logos is used in Acts 20 and 7. You know that one. 1 Corinthians 2:1, you might. And Titus 2:8, you may not. You need to go back and look at it. Should be as good as his bond and as good as his oath or vow. But above all, my brethren, James counseled, do not swear either by heaven or by earth or with any other oath, but let your yes be yes and your no be no, so that you may not fall under judgment. James is saying you fall under judgment on this. James said this one's serious. This ain't no joke on this one. Be careful what you do when you make an oath. Make sure it's yes. Just say yes or just say no. You gonna be here tomorrow? Yep. Be careful. Make sure you understand what you're saying. A lot of times I told you, because we don't fear God, we say what we want to say. We react off of our emotions. Oh, that was a beautiful message Brother Thompson gave. So will I see you next? Yes, Lord, you see me next Sunday. And I'll look up for you next Sunday. Believe me, when you make a statement, I do look for you. I really do. And I don't see you. But okay. You don't even realize what you've done. That's on you. Watch this. He says, watch this. Back into your Bible. 38 says what?
You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I tell you not to resist an evil person.
Watch this.
But whosoever slaps you on your right cheek, turn the other.
Teresa, you got an eye for an eye on your paper.
An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth are part of longer lists that include hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, bruise for bruise, the fracture for fracture. And both the law of Moses and the code of Hammurabi, the principle of punishment to match the crime had two basic purposes.
This was the code, another one of those codes that they came up with by the law of Moses. So what they came up with was, if this is the case, then it meant an eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. Somebody take out your eye, you to do what? Take out their eye. Somebody break your tooth, you to do what? Break their tooth. Whatever it was. Or a lot of your foreign countries, they do what? They cut off your hand. See what I'm saying? In a lot of foreign countries, they still hold to this. So they actually say, so when you see somebody and something's missing, you go, wow. So it was serious. Yes, it was. It was serious. That's why you don't realize that you don't see too much in your foreign countries. Stop and think about it. You don't see too much stuff in your foreign countries. Stop and think about it. You know your hand is coming off. You ain't gonna do that. But it's been set so that you can see it. So, wait a minute, so you can't get around it, so you can't get around it. Wait a minute, I was stealing, yeah, I can see. You ain't got a hand, so I can see. You hear me? It sends a message. Stop and think about it. This is crazy, but stop and think about it. Don't you understand, if we were to follow the law that God has given, somebody said, but you don't understand, that law is abolished. Tell me when. Tell me when, and we'll be all right. Tell me when. Because the God that made it is the God of what? Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And then I heard he what? Never changed. So what are you talking about? Don't you understand, if that law was like it was, don't you understand, people would be out of work. Because your prisons wouldn't be filled. So you don't have to make a lot of prisons. Because when I know if I killed somebody and it was intentional and it can be proven, I know the next move is what? Well, there goes my life, I'm gone. You hear me?
If I know that this is what's gonna happen, I think twice. Wait a minute, I stole, or when I got in a fight because I was so mad, and I knocked that tooth out, and then somebody say, hey, come on. I says, by the way, that ain't, come here, let me pull your tooth. That's not pull. Just like you knocked theirs out, yours get knocked out the same way. So the pain they felt is the pain you feel. You see what I'm saying? Stop and think about it. You think twice. You think I'm kidding, but if you had this still instilled in our system, you wouldn't have crime. But watch this. Then they'd have to come up with another way to make money. See, then they'd have to figure out another way to make money. They had already came up with one that you don't realize that they came into existence. One that just came into existence, but there's another one that came into existence concerning the law. One of them is what? You heard of gambling? You heard of gambling? You know gambling. Sports gambling. You can now do that. Stop and think about it. What in the world is going on? We're adapting more and more to the world, and you don't even see it. I made a statement to somebody. I says, you know what? This person comes from wherever they come from, which is a colder climate. Don't you understand when they come into the city of Los Angeles or what's the other, Florida? What do you see? Less of clothes.
Oh, yeah.
You see less of clothes. If you're not used to seeing women running around with nothing, what do?
Stare.
You do more than stare. You do more than stare. Stop and think about it. You do. You crave. You want. And you pursue, especially if you have a perverted mind, then you actually pursue. Stop and think about it. That's why they always talk about California is Sin City. No, Vegas is Sin City. No, California. Because of, and Los Angeles, because of the weather itself. And why? Because of the immorality that takes place. Summertime comes, and boy, they're doing everything they can to get out of their clothes. Because you know what they did all winter? Run, exercise it. I gotta make it look good. But you hear me? I gotta make it look good. So you exercise, so watch it, so that you can go out and flaunt it. And then I don't know why he looking at me strange. Really? Maybe let me take a picture and see if you can figure out why he's looking at you strange. Did you hear me? We don't see it. Immorality is here. It is crap. But if we had to stay with some laws of morality, these things wouldn't be. It would stop some things. Yeah, but I'm in that book again. It would stop some things. But watch this, guys.
Book is that insanity?
Insanity. You have to see it. Insanity in the church. Oh, you have to see it. It's in that book. These are the things that are going on. These are the things that are going on today. Today, these are things that are going on in the church today. You ain't got to look outside the church and look at the world and see women running around with nothing on. All you got to do is go to church now. You can come to church and see it now. You ain't got to go nowhere. Man is sitting behind you looking at your rear. Because you got it out. Well, he shouldn't be looking at, no, you shouldn't be dressing like that. Well, I have a right to dress like I want, and he got a right to look too. So don't get upset because he's got a right to look at you. And watch this. And he came up to you and he had a wooden tooth and a wooden eye and a broken leg. And he came up to you and said, hey, how you doing? And you say, I don't want him next to me. Then you shouldn't have shown your merchandise. You made it easy for him. One time he had to fathom, he had to think about, I wonder what she looks like. You don't have to worry about that no more. And God forbid the new club you go to, called the gym. That's the new club you go to. Sheila told me the other day, she said, I gotta go to the gym. She called me from the gym. She said, Pastor, you ain't gonna believe this. She said, this is my first time going into the gym during the day. She said, Pastor, you ain't gonna believe this. I said, what's going on, Sheila? She said, I'm about ready. She said, I'm getting ready to leave. She said, but you ain't gonna believe this. She said, watch this. These women sitting in here half naked. She said, and the men too. She said, I got to get out of here. But she said, both of them sitting in here looking at one another. She said, it is crazy up in here. She said, I can't even exercise, Pastor. That's how bad it is. She said, so I got to go. When your thinking is, when you have morality, when you have spiritual morality, you spot these things and say, oh, good God. Do I want to be in this environment? No. Stop and think about it. But if you like being in that environment, that's because you never transformed. You conform. What's the big thing about it? Gayism has come out, or homosexuality has come out. It is affecting our voting. Hear me? It's affecting everything. They're making decisions on whoever accepts them, then I'm voting for him or I'm voting for her. And I have a community of people that think like me, so you want my vote, then you better accept me the way I am. Huh? You got it?
They had a convention this past weekend over the convention center.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I heard about it. It's a friend of mine, they were working and they decided to go downtown on Sunday. Wow. And he said that's all they saw. They turned around.
That's crazy. It is crazy. You guys watch this. He hits us with 39. 39 says what?
But I tell you to resist an evil person. For whosoever slaps you on the right cheek, turn the other to him also.
I don't understand. What are you talking about? Jesus is talking about all this stuff. And he says, now he tells us, first of all, that you've heard that it was a sin, an eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. He says, but I tell you to resist an evil person. He says, but whoever slaps you on your right cheek, turn to the other to him also. What are you talking about, Jesus? Jesus says, I brought something else with me when I came down here. What is it that I also brought down here with me? I told you to be a Christian, boy, and you don't want to let go. This is hard. It's called mercy. It's called mercy. Your text said what? If somebody slaps you on what?
On your right cheek.
On your right cheek, right?
Okay.
But then you go back up and listen to what he says. Go back up, a verse.
But I say to you, 39,
Yeah, it's only 37.
let your communication be ready.
Uh-huh.
Nay, for whosoever is more than these comes of evil.
Comes from where? Evil. Then he drags down. Now he's talking about evil. And he's talking about that which is not only something that they do evil, but something that they think. So if somebody walks up to you and slap him, he says you to do what? You turn the other cheek. Isn't that amazing? You to turn the other cheek. What person would do such a thing like that? Who would do something of that magnitude? Turn around and say, well, you slapped me on that side and you got me good and red. Look like you need to slap me on this side so I can have matching cheeks.
So 39 is saying, but I say to you that you resist not evil.
Come on.
Because I kept saying resist evil, but this one says resist not evil. Because if I resist not the evil, then I can slap me and I can turn to you and slap the other.
You got it. There's your evil. Your evil is what? Your evil is what? Not them. Your evil is who? You.
Yeah.
Because watch this. He slapped you. What's your natural reaction? You'll never slap me again. Right? That's your natural reaction. He says, but watch this. But watch this. But your spiritual reaction, well, you're supposed to be in Christ. So your spiritual reaction then is to allow him then to slap you on the next one. That don't make sense. It sure won't if you've never transformed. But when you transform, you'll stop and think before you react. You weigh it out. Is it best? That's evil. That's evil for me to come. Two wrongs ain't never equal to right. Two wrongs end up with somebody dead. Stop and think about it. Two wrongs. So watch this. He's saying, then here's his mercy. Watch this. Did they not slap Jesus? Stop and think about it. That's my point. But stop and think about it. He set an example for us. He didn't just say these things. He's going to show them how you can do these things. He's working with them. So pull your paper. I says, in the command, I ain't nobody got the paper. You got it, Casey? In the command?
In the command, do not resist him who is evil. Jesus rebuts the Pharisees' misinterpretation and forbids retaliation in personal relationships.
Keep going.
Jesus and the apostles continually opposed evil with every means and resource. Jesus resisted the profaning of God's temple by making a scourge of cords and physically driving out the sacrifice sellers and
Remember that?
Yeah.
When he made the rope and somebody said, well, then Jesus went after them. Watch this. Get past this verse. He says,
okay, we are to resist the devil and all the evil that he stands for and inspires.
So then what is Jesus' point? Go down. We turn to him.
We are to turn to him, the other also. But Jesus' point pertains more to what we are not to do than what we are to do. Turning the other cheek symbolizes the non-avenging, non-retaliatory, humble, and gentle spirit that is to characterize kingdom citizens.
What are you in Christ? Because I'm asking. You ought to be what? Christ-like. Right? That's what you're to be. So then you're his ambassador. So he's telling you, when whoever is in charge of you tell you what to do, aren't you supposed to follow it? I don't care how Pence or whatever that man is that's dealing with Trump. Whatever Trump tells him, he's got to go out there and make it sound like it's good. Like this is what he said. He is the representative. He is the ambassador for Trump. I forgot the woman's name that gets up and always defending. She's the spokesperson. I forgot her name.
Kellyanne
What's her name?
Conlon.
Yes. I said, so stop and think, but look how she defends him, and she knows deep down inside, some of this mess ain't right. But that's not the point. The point is, I'm going to do it because this is what I've been assigned to do. We have been assigned to do what Christ has told us to do. And what he's told us to do is you don't repay evil with evil. That's what he's telling us to do. Don't repay evil with evil. You let it go. You leave it alone. Don't do it. He made it clear as a bell. Remember, evil is what caused this in the first place. This is what we got to see. It was evil that caused this in the first place. And if you do it, then you too have allowed Satan to come into your life to destroy and distort you too. Stop and think about it. You don't, so he's given them an example. Oh, no, you don't do it. He ain't through. Watch this. He's got some more. He says what? He says what? Back into your Bible. 40, Calvin.
If anyone wants to sue you and take you to the tunic, let him have the cloak also.
So if somebody was to come and wanted to, watch this, to take your tunic, right?
Yeah.
He says that you turn around and give them everything.
Yeah.
So watch this, guys. I got this. You got this one, Casey?
Yes. The shirt mentioned here was a type of tunic worn as an undergarment, and the coat was an outer garment that also served as a blanket at night. Most people of the day owned only one coat and probably only one or two shirts. It was the outer garment, the coat, that Mosaic law required to be returned to its owner before the sun sets. For that is his only covering, and it is his cloak for his body.
So listen to what Jesus is saying. Listen to what he's saying. What he's saying.
So you give him his glove too. Go ahead and give him your glove too. You're sending a message. Hey, I've given you what? My everything. I've given you my everything. I told you, being in Christ-like is to make a sacrifice. And you watch this. And if you can't transform, you're going to have some serious problems. Watch this. Here's the serious problem you have. It's the ideal of heaven or hell. That's the problem you have. Yes, God.
Now, I was just gonna say, all of these are self-sacrifices.
You better know it.
Unless you give them yourself, it really doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter. When you start to give something that is so sacred to you.
That's where he's at.
And self can be sacred to you.
Okay.
Because it can get you caught up in you. And when you get to that point in your life where you're willing to expose you,
Come on.
give of you, then that's when God can start to work with
Hello. I come to the church and drop off my old refrigerator. Because I got a new one. Did you hear what I'm saying? Because I got a new one. Maybe drop the new one off and you keep the old one. And then you go get a new one. Huh? A sacrifice there. Whoa! That's a sacrifice there. That's right. He wants us to understand, make your sacrifice. When you finally empty self, that's what you're talking about, God. When you can finally let go. I told you that's that remnant. That remnant that finally just said, hey, Lord, I am yours. I surrender. Do whatever you wish to do to me, do it. This is where I'm at. My time has expired, guys. But I just want to let you see this. We're going to deal with it some more. But this is some serious stuff here that Jesus is trying to bring to their attention, but he's also bringing it to our attention. When do we dump self? When do we finally let go of self? Or do we keep holding on? Do we we part-time Christians. Nobody knows what I'm doing, so, I'm going to go over here and do my thing. And then I'm going to come back in the church and give praises and honor to God. Then we understand, then it makes sense why we can't bring souls to Christ. Because what you thought you did secretly or in the dark, somebody saw you. Somebody saw you, and that may have been the soul that you could have turned around to come to Christ. But that person saw your evilness, saw your wrong. Are there any questions, guys, in regard?